Hello, my name is Martin Omander and I welcome you to Google Root Access, the show featuring actionable startup advice. My guest today is Alex Haro, co-founder of Life360. Tell us about your startup, Alex.
Sure. So first of all, thank you very much, Martin, for having me on. I'm super excited.
Great.
Life360 is a mobile app for families that lets them stay close and connected to the people that matter most in their lives. Things like seeing where everyone is on the map, being able to communicate throughout the day, coordinate how they're going to get together tonight for dinner, and getting automated alerts when they arrive to home or leave school or get to work. Those are the things we're focused on, and funny enough, we're actually one of the first venture-backed Android apps ever. Our first source of funding was a grant from Google when we won the Google Android competition back in 2008. And since then, by really focusing in on the daily utility of family life and how do we make it a little bit easier, we've been able to acquire a critical mass of 44 million families who are using us every single day and loving the things that we do.
Great. So sounds excellent. How are the numbers? How's your traction?
Sure. I mean, we've already passed 44 million families and we're adding 1 to 2 million every single month, and it's growing very well, and people really are finding us organically. We're not paying for any of those users and they're loving us.
Wow, that's amazing.
Thank you.
So I downloaded the app myself from the Play Store.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Found another user, right?
One more, yes. So I didn't have to pay anything. How do you guys make money?
Sure. So first of all, the thing that we're focused in on is scale. We want to capture the family network much like Facebook has friends and LinkedIn has work. No one has really captured that family network, and we think it's the real big next network to go online. And so because we're focused in on that, we have to build a compelling product that users want to use every single day. And we do have to provide something that really provides utility without forcing them to pay for it up front. That being said, we eventually do have to become a legitimate business that makes money. And so we've chosen the freemium model to monetize. And what we've done is we have specific features that are behind a paywall that users have to pay. And those are only features that they'd want to use after they're deeply engaged in Life360 and really finding the value of it. So one of our most popular services is called Live Advisor, who's a live representative. You can think of it like an OnStar rep in your car, but for your phone instead, a live representative that knows who you are, where you are, and can help you out with things like a minor emergency like a broken down car, or get you dinner tickets tonight for you and your wife.
Great. So I've had other guests on this show who have told me, they've all told me how hard it is to get consumers to pay for something. And it seems like that's what you're trying to do. How's that going?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. It definitely is hard. And there's a whole bunch of things that when you're first thinking about business, you don't realize how hard it is actually to get users to pay. And we launched back in 2008. And so we didn't have a lot of these pay APIs that exist now, things like in-app purchase and PayPal and all that kind of stuff, really weren't mobile focused at all back in 2008. And so when we first launched our premium offering, we actually collected credit cards straight from the mobile app itself. The user had to go in and provide the full credit card info if they were interested in it, and surprisingly that actually worked for us, and we actually had a large number of users opting into premium and loving our premium services as well. But there's a whole host of issues that you don't think about that suddenly pop up day one after the first month of billing, when all of a sudden like some percentage of your credit cards just can't bill, and we thought we did something wrong. It's like, holy crap, like what's wrong? And it's all things like lost credit cards, and people don't unfortunately always have funds, and cards get stolen and cards get fraud and they expire over time, and all these kind of issues a lot of companies have had to solve that have billed, hundreds of millions of dollars through their systems. And it's very hard for a small startup to realize what these are and try to solve them without dedicating a lot of their time to billing and billing support.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. My primary card has been replaced twice in the last year, and I feel sorry for everybody who was trying to get money for my subscriptions.
It happens a lot more frequently than you'd expect, for sure.
Yeah. So, so you got people. Some people were actually then entering the full credit card number. Some of them were even succeeding, and in some cases you were even able to charge the card. But there were problems. You said. How did you overcome these problems?
Sure. So, I mean, first of all, I think the reason that people were able to give us credit cards and felt secure is because we are around family and closed networks, and our users actually really do trust us, and we take that seriously. And we do a lot of things. We're PCI compliant. We follow all the appropriate security protocols and guidelines. But the way that we were able to solve it, and what we've had great success with, is actually with Google in-app purchases. So about 6 months ago, we switched from doing our own credit card-based solution to Google in-app purchase, and had great success. We tripled the number of conversions we had every single day overnight. So we released this, and we went from 1x number of signups to premium to 3x overnight, and it's been awesome. And the other great thing about it is it's a very simple API that you can build on top of. Google takes care of all the really hard details around how do you rebill, how do you send them emails to make sure that they enter their credit card info, how do you bug them to do it, how do you remind them, and how do you deal with fraud and all that kind of stuff. Google takes care of all those kind of details for you, so you have this very simple API that you can just say, hey Google, is this user still premium or not? And Google will return yes or no, and you can deal with that and not worry about all the lower level details of billing.
So the increased conversion rate, where does that come from, do you think? Is it because people don't enter the full card, or why?
So I think a lot of it is that. A lot of the credit card that you have on Google Play Services that is used for Google in-app is for all of your apps. So say you love Angry Birds and you want to upgrade for whatever the upgrade for Angry Birds is, and you enter your credit card, or say you really love Life360 and you're willing to put your credit card in for that. Once you enter your credit card, then it's in the system and it's available to all the other apps. So after you've gone through that experience, say you've done it for Angry Birds, now you love Life360, you're using it every single day, you say, hey, I want to upgrade for some of these premium features, it's a one-click checkout. So you just click and say, yes, I want to buy this, and all of a sudden, that's it. So there's no more of this like having to enter your credit card details every time, and like a lot of people haven't even memorized their credit card, so they have to pull it out and they may be driving or something crazy like that. Instead, it's just one click touch and you automatically upgrade.
Great, great. So Google takes a cut, of course. That's on one side of the equation. On the other side of the equation is greater conversion rate, you mentioned, that you've seen. How are you thinking about that trade-off? Is it worth it? Is it barely worth it to you?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, obviously this is very specific on everyone's business, but what we've seen is for our premium offering, some of it's digital, some of it's real hard costs, but the relative fixed cost per premium user is relatively low. And so when we look at the cost of developer time to figure out all these billing issues, when we think about the cost of how do we acquire these new premium offerings, when we think about just like going from 1x to 3x, I mean, that's almost worth it itself. All of those costs add up. They may not be 30%, but you end up making more money, we definitely have, through Google and an app than when you try to do it yourself.
Great. So finally, what is your advice to other startups who are trying to build consumers on a subscription model?
Sure. So I think one of the things that everyone needs to focus in on is build something that users really want. I think that's where we've been hugely successful. We've actually built something that users really want. And then you'll figure out how to build them and how to pay them. But unless you're really building that product that users really want to pay for, anything else will be trickery. Like the users have to want to pay before you'll get them to pay. So first and foremost, focus on making a product that users really do want to pay for. Then when it comes to actually billing them, don't try to solve the problems yourself. Like you'll spend far too much time figuring out like, how does American Express trade against Visa and MasterCard? And how do I like rebill users and all sorts of things that many other people have spent many other people's times figuring it out. And you should be focused on building your product, not figuring out how to bill users. And whether it's in-app or some other service, you really should consider using another service that really knows how to bill users and how to deal with all these credit card issues. And you just worry on building your awesome product that users do want to pay for.
Great, great advice, Alex. Thank you for sharing your experiences with us.
Absolutely, and thank you for having me here.
We hope you found something you can use in your startup. Your input matters. Please leave your comments below. We read everything you write. To learn how Google can help your startup, go to developers.google.com/startups. If you would like to be a guest on the show, go to bit.ly/apply root access. That's it for now. See you next time.